In this video, I will learn how to make Mary Berry's English trifle and Dolly Parton's Southern banana pudding. Mary uses jam and booze. Dolly uses a full stick of butter. It is an English versus Southern taste test, and I'm going to try to put them both in the same bowl. I'm excited to see how this comes out, so let's jump right into the trifle. For Mary Berry's trifle, I started by making the custard. It says, in a bowl, mix together 3 egg yolks, 1 ounce of sugar, and a teaspoon of cornstarch. Take 1 1/4 cups of milk and warm it in a heavy saucepan. Then pour it into the egg yolk mixture, stirring constantly. Return the mixture to the pan and cook over a low heat, stirring constantly until the custard thickens. Leave the custard to cool slightly. So here is the custard. It has cooled down to room temperature. So it's time to start with the assembly process. Pretty straightforward, simple recipe so far. Starting with 1 14-ounce can of pear halves. You want to drain and slice the fruit, reserving the juice. Now it says to take 6 pre-made pound cake slices. So I just took a Sara Lee pound cake and cut 6 even slices out of it. Cut the pound cake slices in half horizontally and sandwich the halves together with jam. So I'm guessing it's this way. So it's going to give me 12 little fingers. Okay, so here is 4 tablespoons of raspberry jam, and I'm going to just make a bunch of little sandwiches, I guess. Slightly messy, but I think I got the gist of what she was asking for. So I have my glass serving bowl here, and because I want to do the banana pudding in one half, the trifle in the other, I came up with this little partition. This is just a comic book protector. So it has the cardstock and an acid-free slip on the outside, plastic acetate slip. And I'm thinking if I start filling up one side, the other side might start smushing in like this. So I'm just going to fill a bag with some water and use that to placeholder. All right, well, the bag is pushing the divider over a little bit, but if I pull the lip up, press my belly against it, that can hold it in place so it's not. So how do these go? Maybe curve these a little bit without breaking them, but sort of follow the bowl. Okay, so I have these in the bottom like this. Kind of looks like what she's got. So what next? Arrange the fruit and cookies on top. So this is a 14-ounce can of pear halves sliced. This is 2 ounces of amaretti cookies. Okay, so now I need to drizzle over the sherry and the reserved fruit juice. So I have 1/3 cup of sherry and also the reserved pear juice and then the custard on top. The sherry seems to be soaking into the sponges, into the pound cake pretty well, but I don't know if I poured this pear juice, if it would leak all onto the banana pudding side. I've got this like 2/3 of the way done. I'm going to get the banana pudding 2/3 of the way done and then finish them off. For the banana pudding, I started with the custard part for this as well. And I cut this recipe in half because it is meant to make a portion big enough to feed like a family reunion size, which is way more than I need. So I cut this in half. It's still going to be a pretty big recipe. I don't know if I'm going to even need all of it to fill up this half of the bowl. So portion size, it is a much larger than the British recipe, which doesn't surprise me. To make the pudding in a large bowl, combine 1 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup of all-purpose flour, and 1/8 teaspoon of salt. Add 6 cups of whole milk, 6 egg yolks, and 3 whole eggs. Whisk until well combined to create a thick custard mixture. In a large saucepan, melt 1 stick of butter over medium heat. Pour the custard mixture into the saucepan, turn down the heat to medium-low, and whisk slowly to combine. Stir constantly until the custard has thickened and coats the back of the spoon nicely. Remove the custard from the heat and stir in 2 teaspoons of vanilla. Cover and allow the custard to cool to room temperature. So that's where we're at. I got the custard for the banana pudding done. And in the melting the butter part of it, I did brown the butter to get a little bit of extra flavor in there. That's it. Let's start the assembly. I have the custard made and cooled. I have some Nilla wafers, and I have some bananas that have been peeled and sliced. So one note for how I am doing this, her recipe is baked in the oven for 3 minutes because it has a meringue on top, and you just bake in the oven to make sure the meringue is safe to eat. So this recipe she puts in a casserole dish, the from scratch banana pudding. But she gives another banana pudding recipe, and I really do need to mention it because the other banana pudding recipe is made with banana flavored Jell-O pudding mix and Cool Whip. So there's really kind of a divide between how people make their Nana pudding. I personally like the from scratch better. I don't really like the one with the Jell-O pudding. It's got the artificial banana flavoring and Cool Whip. Nothing wrong with it. A lot of people love that one. It's not my favorite. So I am not going to be baking this in the oven like she does. I'm going to be assembling this one cold, and I'm just going to be using a Swiss meringue on top so I don't have to bake it in the oven. So let's get started with the assembly. I need to spoon about 1/4 of the custard into the bottom of the bowl. Okay, layer of bananas. Now we're doing a layer of vanilla wafers, another layer of custard, another layer of bananas. So I did grow up eating banana pudding. It was around at every family get together. It was never my go-to dish, mostly because I had it a couple times and really liked it, had a couple times didn't like it so much. And I think it depends on who made it. The people who made it from scratch, I really liked theirs. The ones who used the Jell-O pudding, just not my jam. But my thing is, if there's like a holiday dessert sort of situation, there would almost always be pecan pie as well. And if there's pecan pie, that's going to be my go-to dessert. Let's do one more layer of wafers. Maybe probably put a little bit too much custard at the bottom, but that's good. Maybe it'll settle down and sort of seal the bottom up. Last layer of custard. And, we're getting to the top here, so this is going to be a fairly thin layer. At this point, I think the trifle needs to have a little bit more weight to it, so it's not getting bullied by the banana pudding. So I'm going to go ahead and pour this this reserved juice, and that should get soaked up by the pound cake. And let's go ahead and put the custard on top. Shizzle. I would like to do a quick comparison, the thickness of the custards. So this is for the banana pudding. It is a very thick set custard. And this is Mary Berry's custard for the trifle. And it is much thinner. It's more like a sauce than like a pudding or a custard. We'll pour this over. For the pudding, let's do one last layer of bananas and one last layer of vanilla wafers. Okay. I'm going to let this set for a while, let all the flavors melt together, and I'm going to make a whipped cream for the top of the trifle and a Swiss meringue for the top of the banana pudding. All right, it is assembly time. This is exciting. So I have, let's start with the trifle. I just took 1 1/4 cup of heavy whipping cream and whipped it. No sugar, no vanilla. I never even realized that when British recipes say whipped cream, they literally just mean whipped cream, no sugar, no vanilla. I had no idea. It never even occurred to me before to just do it by itself. But now I know. Apparently people find it quite lovely, just a simple whipped cream. And then she says to put sliced or slivered almonds on top for decoration. For the banana pudding side, I made a meringue starting with 3 egg whites. I had the egg whites left over from the custard. It includes 3 egg yolks, and the 3 egg whites were separate. So on a double boiler, I took the 3 egg whites, a tablespoon of sugar, a teaspoon, 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, and I whipped that over heat until it started getting pretty warm, and then took it off the heat and finished whipping it up to a nice stiff peak. That's what I'm going to be using to top it. Oh, and also after I whipped it to a stiff peak, I added in a splash of vanilla, mix that in. It says to use crushed vanilla wafers for decoration on top of the banana pudding. Okay, here we go. We have, oh Jesus, this is heavy. Mary Berry's English trifle versus Dolly Parton's banana pudding. That is cool. Okay, I'm gonna let it set and try to get a piece of it. It is time for the taste test, and I am excited for this. Let's start with Mary Berry's English trifle. I don't know what to expect from this. It is a different combination of ingredients than I've ever had in a dessert. Trying to get a spoon with a little bit of everything. Okay, let's see how this goes. Mmm. That's really good. Okay, I wasn't, the pound cake just sort of, it soaked up all the liquid from the pears and the brandy, and it's really, it doesn't have a lot of texture, but it's very, very tasty. The pears have some texture in there. The amaretti cookies, I forgot about those in there. They add like an almond flavor. I'm having trouble explaining this. I'm loving it. Wow, it's very subtle and complex and tasty. Not what I was expecting at all. It is so much lighter than I was expecting it to be. And the sweetness is really well balanced. So let's go in now for the banana pudding. I've had this before. Like I said, it's not always my favorite. Sometimes I really like it, sometimes I don't. Let's give it a bite. All right, you know what? It's actually really good as well. This is a really good banana pudding recipe. It isn't like a smack you upside the head sort of banana pudding like some of the versions I've had. The custard does melt in your mouth. It's very rich, but the custard does sort of melt in your mouth. The fresh banana really lightens things up. I like the meringue with it as opposed to a whipped cream. I think you could use either. Yeah, if you've never had banana pudding before, this is a recipe to make. If you have had banana pudding before, this is a recipe to make. It really nails everything that's good about banana pudding and pulls back on some of the things that aren't so good about it sometimes. I love them both. How do I compare these two with ratings? That English trifle is just really something I like. Wow, 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 wow. Man, I'm impressed with that custard, that trifle. I thought it was going to be soupy. It's not. Okay, all the liquid soaked up into the pound cake. It's just, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10 for the Mary Berry's English trifle. That's a 10 out of 10, easy. Wow, I like it a little bit better than I liked the Victoria sponge. Yeah, very happy. I just sat there and wolfed down that whole portion because it was just so delicious and so light and tasty still, and just little subtle, delicate flavors coming in and out. Sometimes you get a little bit of a raspberry coming through. Sometimes the brandy cuts through a little bit more. Every once in a while you get a bite of almond. A little bit of the flavor of the amaretti cookies cuts through. A little bit of a delicate custard. A nice light whipped cream. Excellent. 10 out of 10 for the English trifle. For this banana pudding, as far as banana pudding recipes go, it's the best one I've ever had. That being said, it's very rich. Not a bad thing if you want a rich dessert. It's got a lot of sugar, a lot of butter. But after eating the trifle and then eating this pudding, I couldn't eat as much of this as I could of that. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but the banana pudding, it sits a lot heavier. But as far as the banana pudding recipes go, it's the best one I've had. I'm going to give it an 8 out of 10. And please, anyone who grew up with banana pudding, please don't come for me. Like I said, I prefer pecan pie if I'm going to go for a dessert. And banana pudding is good, but it's just a little bit too heavy. So 8 out of 10 for the banana pudding. That's a once a year special occasion sort of dessert for me. 10 out of 10 for the English trifle because I could have that. I could have that every week. I shouldn't have that every week. I could have that every week because it doesn't sit so heavy. But that is all that I have for today. If you have liked this video, please give it a thumbs up. That helps more than you could know. If you have not already and you would like to, please subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the future. Let's go find Pearl. She didn't make an appearance today. I think she's in here in the bathroom getting some sun. There you go. She likes to nap in the bathroom and the bathtub here because it gets a lot of bright sun. You a good girl? You in here enjoying the sun? Right. Goodbye.